Medium tactical vehicle for the Marine Corps is the MTVR medium tactical vehicle replacement. There will be 8,750 of those in our fleet when we are finished, finally finished with our production. They come in 4 different variants: cargo, wrecker, tractor, and dump truck. They are, as said, they are medium lift capability, logistics capability for the Marine Corps. They provide a 7-ton off-road capability and a 15-ton on-road capability. The heavy truck is the LVSR, Logistics Vehicle System Replacement. It replaces the current logistics vehicle system in the Marine Corps. It is in production and fielding today, and in the end, when we are done in 2014, we will have 2,000 of those. 3 variants: the cargo variant, the wrecker variant, and the tractor variant. And again, it's a logistics mission, transporting cargo and equipment for the Marine Corps, heavy transport. And again, replacing the current system in the Marine Corps. Yeah, both vehicles are employed in theater in OEF. The MTVR was also in OIF. The MTVR has been the workhorse over there in theater because of the numbers that we have there, but also in the convoys they are hauling most of the equipment. Again, the LVSR is there also. Aside from the environments, if you will, the biggest challenge for both vehicles in theater really is survivability. Neither vehicle was designed or produced with survivability, if you will, so much in mind in terms of armor and protection for the crews. They have survivability in that they are high off the ground, so that does give you some protection against blasts, such as for IEDs and so forth. But survivability was the biggest challenge. There were a lot of urgent requirements come out of theater to improve survivability in the vehicles. So that has resulted in armor being put on both vehicles. It has resulted in automatic fire suppression systems being put inside the cabs, is tested and procured to be put inside the cabs of both vehicles. And other smaller changes that we've had to do to the vehicles to support the increased weight that comes with adding armor and things to the vehicles. The MTVR also has a manned weapon station called the McTAGS, Marine Corps Transport Armored Guns System, on top of the cabs of the vehicles. So that was really the biggest challenge, is taking vehicles that are trucks, and they're still trucks, but adding armor to them, and in the case of the MTVR, even a weapons station that doesn't make them an armored vehicle, a combat vehicle in any way, but certainly moves them beyond just a standard truck, and that was the biggest challenge, I would say. Well, just having the MTVR and the LVSR, because they're new vehicles, help reduce Marine Corps life cycle costs because of the older vehicles. Just as vehicles get older, it costs more to maintain. But specifically for these vehicles, as we go through their life cycle, we always have an eye toward how can we reduce life cycle costs on these new vehicles. An example, the MTVR. In theater, the MTVR consumes 40 to 60% of all the fuel that's used on the vehicles. Neither of these vehicles are high gas mileage vehicles, as you would expect, because they are militarized vehicles. They're heavy trucks for heavy transport, so they're not getting 30, 40 miles per gallon, far from it. But how can we reduce that? We are involved in various S&T initiatives to look at how we can make the vehicles lighter, how we can improve the fuel efficiency in the vehicles, and if we're able to do that, then that will help to reduce life cycle costs. And then we also, as we look toward the future of these vehicles, looking at the best support and sustainment strategies. It's not necessarily always about the vehicle itself, but how we support the vehicle. So do we continue with a contractor support strategy? Do we go completely organic Marine Corps support, or do we do some sort of a hybrid mix of those things? We're going to do our business case analysis that will help us make the right decision for what is the most cost-effective means of supporting these vehicles into the future, which is a part of the life cycle cost of the platforms. We have, as life cycle manager of the vehicle, we have to take a look at how are we going to ensure that they remain effective platforms for the foreseeable future, for the life of these vehicles. So near term, that's continuing to, if you will, reset the platforms as they are being used in theater. So it's making sure they're getting the maintenance in theater that they need, as vehicles have to rotate out of theater, getting them repaired, brought back up to operable conditions so that they can be reemployed as necessary. Midterm, that's really looking at what's our strategy for the reset reconstitution as all the vehicles are brought out of theater as U.S. forces draw down. So as the Marines come out, we pull all the trucks out of theater, and we have to take a look at our strategies for that, whether they're going to go back to our depots and go through a depot rebuild, do they go to industry for a remanufacture, do we throw the vehicle away, if you will, discard it and buy new ones to replace it. Those strategies are somewhat set, but they are still in a state of flux because things will change as we continue to use the vehicles, as we get better information on their condition. Those strategies will change, and exactly how we go about executing them, the plans for those are also going to be thought through and adjusted. And then long term is just, even once we reset the vehicles that come out of theater, these vehicles have a long life ahead of them. We need to be looking at what's the future for these vehicles. Where do we try to insert technology in terms of future upgrades that will help us to lighten the vehicles, that'll make them more fuel efficient, not just fuel efficient, but support Marine Corps energy initiatives as well. So those are really sort of what the long-term strategies are in terms of resetting the fleet. Well, you know, for me, it's good to be able to at least put our story out there so that if people aren't familiar with the vehicles or where we're going, you know, they at least get to hear it. And if they're from industry, it lets them know where opportunities may be for them. That's why I try to specifically highlight areas for industry to sort of be on the watch, if you will, so that they know what's going on. For me personally, getting to walk around and see some of the vendors, some of who I've known, others I don't know, understand their products. One guy I talked to today, I didn't know the company, didn't know his product, but I gave him sort of a, hey, here's where you might try to interject. I couldn't really help him, but where he might interject into ground vehicles, both through the OEMs and through our depots. So I kind of gave him some guidance. So those types of interactions, I think, are where the value comes in.